Stuart, do you feel you had a productive winter break?
Yeah, productive from the point of view that we absolutely had to have a pause in there. I think everyone could see that we were depleted in numbers. I think you could see that a lot of players were being asked to play all the minutes in what's a hectic schedule over the winter. So from that point of view, we absolutely needed a pause in the season. I think from my side of it, that you look at us starting to pick up points in that couple of games leading up to the break. You look at guys like Theo Bair hitting a bit of form, so there's obviously side stories there that you say you kind of want to keep going and you kind of want to keep trundling along. But I think absolutely from our side of things, giving the players a few days away. But I think from myself and the staff, it's kind of been anything but that. It's you kind of drop a gear, especially in this transfer window, and especially in a situation where quite clearly we need to strengthen and we need to try and bring a little bit of help into the football club. It's a challenge as always, that side of it. But what we've done since we came back is we've had several good sessions. We've put in a lot of work with the guys that are available to us, and we've managed to get a bounce game in there as well, and all of that's done with the intention to try and make sure that come Saturday that we're in the best place we can be physically, to make sure that we give ourselves an opportunity to try and get a run in this cup competition, which is really important to us. It's something we don't budget for as a football club, so anything that you can get off the back of that and trying to get ourselves on a bit of run and get through rounds in this competition's massive. But again, as always, that's never easy. You're going to play against a team from a lower division that will come here with their tail up and want to have a right go, I would imagine.
What do you feel Adam Montgomery adds to the squad?
No, it's just another, I'm trying to build a squad. At this minute in time, without being disrespectful, we don't have a squad. It really is that simple. So, we've lost Georgie. It's not lost Georgie, sorry, we've lost Brodie Spencer, who went back down and acquitted himself incredibly well against the likes of Jack Grealish and Dooku down in a cup game against Man City. So first and foremost, that's majorly positive for us. We think that we've kind of helped again and aided another player's development as much as it's a blow to lose him. But he kind of plays on both sides for us and has played on both sides. So we need to add that, and at the time that was one that came up for us. In terms of the timing, you don't always get to pick it, so we felt that what we were going to do is add what I believe is a very, very good player, somebody that will help us on that left hand side of the pitch and give us another option there. Geordie Gent's been excellent since he came into the team, so I believe that these two guys can both play in the team at the same time, but I also think that it gives you that little bit of competition for places. It's been a little bit stop-start, it has to be said, for Adam in the last 6 months. A player that I spoke to in the summer, but it feels like the timing's right for him now. But probably what I go off the back of was a really successful loan at St Johnstone last year. Pretty difficult season for them all in, but I think for him personally last season in this division he showed that he's starting to mature and grow as a player, and we hope that we can take that on. But again, I need to kind of lead into the fact that we've been no too bad at that and helping these players at that kind of age range in that bracket of trying to make waves in the game. Then I think we can list any number from last season to this season of guys that have really matured and grown within their area of the pitch.
Can you tell us about a potential deal for Andy Halliday?
I can't tell you anything. I believe, and again, you'll probably be able to lead me into more than this. I think we've been linked with every single player going. What I can tell you is that we've spoken to a host of players, a host of agents, a host of football clubs to try and see if we can help the situation that we sit in at this minute in time and try and build the squad, as I say, and try and bring good players to the club and guys that are going to add value to what we currently have. I'm not going to name check anybody, I'm not going to go into specific players. I can assure you that I didn't take any time off over this period, and I've been working tirelessly along with the team that we have and the recruitment, along with the staff, to try and see that we can do what we feel is right for this football club. So there's been plenty of conversations some successful in terms of that some of them are still spinning and some of them are still trundling along, and several that aren't, several that the other clubs in this division can blow us out of the water, etc. So we have to take our medicine on that. It's no different from what it was for me in the summer. There's plenty of knockbacks and plenty of disappointment in there, but I do hope that we're in a decent position with a couple of players, and I would love to think that over the next few days that we can try and get some of them across the line and try and give us that little boost that we need, and try and give that help that I spoke about earlier on to the rest of the players that we have here just now.
You're quite confident that, given the conversations you're having at the moment, that squad you're talking about putting together will be there by the end of January?
I hope so, but again, I keep going back to it that this is all money related. I think that everybody does plead poverty. We were working within a kind of strict guideline of what we can and can't do. You're trying to spin that out through several positions for us. When you look at it, it'd be really easy for what we've got just to kind of try and shunt it in one position, get one really good player in. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cover several positions here, so you're trying to spin it out and you're trying to spread it out quite a bit, so that has a major impact on what you do. I think there's probably one or two clubs that haven't had the same sort of trials and tribulations that maybe we have had in terms of injuries and recalls for loans and all that type of stuff. So they probably just specifically go in and look at one or two positions and they throw everything at it. We're not able to do that. We have to try and pad it out as much as we possibly can. But yeah, I'm always confident. I contrary to what a lot of people will think, I don't know if they think that when the game against Hibs a couple of weeks ago finishes that we all sail off into the sunset and just go and sun ourselves and enjoy ourselves. I can assure you it's been anything but that. I relish that challenge, I enjoy that challenge, and what I can assure everyone is that we're doing the best that we possibly can for this football club. We believe that we're identifying targets that are relative to this football club, that are achievable, but there's a heck of a lot of work that goes into that, and as I say, there's a lot of disappointment in there sometimes for especially myself, but it's always with the best intention, and I believe that if we keep working as hard as what we are doing, and trying to sell this club in the light that I believe it should be sold in, I think that selling point of the environment that we have here, that selling point of go through a host of players, James Furlong, Mika Biereth, Georgie Gent, Brodie Spencer, Max Johnson, all these types of guys that have had opportunity at this club in the last number of months that have kicked on in their career. Kevin Van Veen, go through them all, the environment that they've had, then that's the biggest selling point, more than money, that I can try and offer. I believe on the work that we do on the pitch. I believe that we spend as much time, if not more, with individuals and players to try and help them improve and develop, not just as players but as individuals, and sometimes that's the biggest selling point that I can put across to anybody. Sometimes I believe that has more value than money, but obviously we need people that want to buy into that side of things as well.
So how much did Callum Slattery's injury affect what you're doing? Did that you have to kind of go back to the drawing board and change your priorities when that happened? Massively, because you look at Callum, somebody that's played almost every minute for us, that has been a huge player for us. I might be over exaggerating this, I don't know, but it's a feeling that I've got. I think for the first chunk of games, possibly first 7-8 games of the season in this league, Callum Slattery was right up there as top performers in the division. I think you can look at all the data and all the statistics would probably relate to that as well, but so many people were singing his praises, and rightfully so, because he was it was a real threat. And it's not to say that beyond that he hasn't been. I just thought that he was really at that optimum point, and I think he's been good in a lot of other games out with that as well. So he's been a mainstay in my team. He's been a guy that I rely on an awful lot. So that innocuous injury that took place in training last week was a huge blow for me, especially for Callum, but for the football club as well. So no, you're right, it starts to point you in different directions, and you start to have a look at different types of players that we probably didn't think that we were going to need. So that again makes it a big challenge, because you're another starter down, you're another guy that plays a lot of minutes and trains every day down. But we're not able just to magic up more funds that change that and replace it. As for Callum himself, obviously it's a horrible injury to get any time, but at this point where he's maybe going into the summer where his future is uncertain as well, how does that impact him? And the club had talks about
Listen, again, I'll go back to it. We've had talks with a lot of players, several players that are out of contract about their future. I'll be very clear, I'm not going to go into the specific players, but you look at a squad, there's a lot of guys that are out of contract. There's been a lot of conversations surrounding their future. So of course there always becomes that uncertain period for football players when you go into the last 6 months. But you know, as I say, there has been conversations with myself and the club with guys that are out of contract. We've not really centred on that when it comes to Callum. I think the most important thing here just now for us all is to make sure, one, that he's in the best place possible mentally, which is always going to be a challenge with what he's had to face over the last few days and the news that's come to him, especially. And I think that our priority is to make sure that we look after him. The first protocol is he needs an operation. He needs to go and see a specialist, and he has to start that recovery process of, you know, mending the problem, fixing the problem. And as always, myself, the club will thrust ourselves fully into that to make sure that that's done in the best possible fashion, and all the other bits that come into the equation after it will transpire in the coming months. But very simply from me, I can assure you that we're 100% behind Callum in his recovery and try to make sure that he's in the best place possible. The thing I have to mention just now is that he's in a decent place. You know, major disappointment from him, major disappointment from him. But you know, he's been about the football club. I've spoken to him several times. He knows that he needs to start thinking about that recovery and trying to get himself back to being what he is and doing what he's good at. And as soon as you get your head round that gives you the opportunity to kick on your recovery. So I've absolutely no doubts in my mind that he'll come back as strong, if not stronger.
Can I ask you, sorry, just one more. Can I ask you, Mika Biereth, there was reports yesterday about a club in the English Championship interested in him, maybe other clubs as well. Have you had any conversation with Arsenal at all about the possibility that Mika might be recalled?
Yeah, Mika has been recalled. Been a bit of a difficult one for us over the last less than 24 hours. Arsenal have called him back. Major disappointment to us, of course. They feel that he's been in a terrific position. They've loved the working environment here. Again, I go back to the personal relationship with myself and the player and the staff to the player. It's been terrific. It's been really good. This was a little bit unexpected. The conversation surrounded that Mika would stay here until the end of the season, as early as just as close as just last week, that he would 100% be staying at Motherwell unless something really big came on the table for Arsenal and something that they thought was an opportunity that they can't turn down, you know. So again, I'm certainly not belittling my football club because I think that we're excellent at what we've been doing. Mika Biereth being another example, but there's a circumstance there and there's a situation there that's completely out of our hands, that they believe that there's an opportunity to send him to another club that takes him that step beyond kind of where we are just now. So my hands are tied on that. Major disappointment in that one for me as well. There's been, you know, huge thank you, I think, from Arsenal for how we've handled the player and how we've treated him, and the strides that he's made over the last 6 months or so, 5 months or so. We loved working with him. We loved having him in our group. He's a good player. Everybody's seen that. But as I say, I can only say that it's a situation which is completely out of our control. There's a recall on all of these loans, and we felt that, you know, unless something major came in, that Mika was going to be here. But it seems that an opportunity's came about. That's not for me to tell anybody what that is or what that looks like. All I can tell you is that the player has been recalled and is back down at Arsenal now.
How much do you enjoy Cup weekend, Stuart? You know, say a team's coming up from a different division, hoping to cause an upset here. Does that provide a different challenge for you and the players?
I love the Cup weekend. I love the Scottish Cup. I love it at this stage. You know, I've on several occasions as a player and a manager been a major underdog and had some big moments in this competition and in the League Cup, caused some big upsets in the past. So I believe that I'm somebody that probably gets the other side of it really well. You know, with a team that comes here that's an underdog. But what I think that does is it allows me to equip the players here that will be favourites. We're undoubtedly the favourites playing at home, playing against a team for a lower division. You know, again, not being disrespectful, I sat and watched Alloa at the weekend. Thought they'd done very well in their game at the weekend. I know a lot of their players. I've, you know, competed against their manager on several occasions as well. So I know what their mindset will be because I've sat and been in those shoes so many times. But what I have to do is make sure the players understand what the mentality is going to be from that dressing room, from Alloa, how they're going to come and how they're going to try and play, how they're going to try and upset us, how they're going to try and change the mood in this place. And it's only us that can control that. If we allow that situation to happen, then it becomes such a difficult day, becomes a really difficult day. Look across the country this weekend, there's going to be lower league clubs that do that all over the place and make it really difficult. So again, if I'd never been in those shoes, I would be maybe sitting here having a different conversation with you, but I absolutely know what that feels like and what the mentality is, even now, sitting here on a Thursday, what those players will be thinking and what the manager will be thinking. So my job is very much, and has been over this week, to make sure that our full intention is to try and see if we can attack this game properly, use our home advantage, use our advantage that we have in terms of being a full-time team. We have to look to all those things, and we have to go and try and execute that the best way possible. But I know it's not going to be easy, because it's a big incentive for smaller clubs to also try and see if they can get a run in this competition.
And how do you look at this half of the season from January till then compared to August until Christmas? Do you reassess yourselves and targets, sort of thing? Yeah,
you reassess things, but I don't think you can ever, I don't think you ever rip things up. I don't think you ever rip up the ultimate plan and the ultimate goals. From our side of things, we've been on a bad run. You look at the league table, we still find ourselves sitting in a position where we can move forward. We have been much maligned, and we've had a lot of criticism for a chunk of time. Stretch your mind back, we've had a lot of praise in there as well at the front end of the season. So from my side of things, what we did do is we had an incredible second half of the season last year. A lot of those plans will be changed by the situation that I've just spoke about in the last few minutes there, but not by our control, with injuries and recalls and loans and things like that. I can't control it. I really can't control it. I'm trying my best to, but I can't control it. Then those alter plans and those change the mindset. But in terms of how we work and in terms of the demands of the players, there's going to be some new players coming in. That same messaging and that same sort of DNA of what we want to be and how we play is still going to go across to the new players. And what I have to ensure is that they get that message as quick as possible and that they act on it as quick as possible. When fresh faces come in and when alterations are made, it's how quickly you can get off the ground and you can get running. I've always prided myself on that preparation, and I've always prided myself on I think you're getting that good start to the season. I think that's because you really try and detail it and you really try and coach it into your players. I've always prided myself on that, and that's what we're going to have to do again in the coming days. But we're limited in time because we go straight into the competitive action. Beyond this cup game, you go into the league action, and we need to get going with it very, very quickly. I want to try and get some new faces in as quick as I can, because then I get a chance to go and work with them and coach them and spend time on the pitch, which for me again is pivotal to try and get an outcome.